Thank you for joining me here at my channel. In this video, we are going to create a beautiful embellished Dutch pour. Most of the colors in this painting are leftover paints from previous pours, and many of these colors are custom blends. I'm using a palette of earthy sort of colors and aqua and turquoises. And these colors remind us of the land and the sky, or the land and the water, or the sand and the sea. I am doing this painting today in honor of my father and in honor of all fathers and father figures in the world, including grandfathers. But make no mistakes, my fabulous artistic friends, this is a bona fide and true tutorial which will satisfy the cravings that you might happen to have of wanting to see an excellent embellished Dutch pour unfold before your eyes. And if that is what you are here to see today, I am sure that you will be happy with the results. In terms of how this painting reminds me of my dad and times I spent with my dad, I will be sharing a little bit about that along the way. So enjoy my little tales, my friends, as you watch the beauty unfold in this gorgeous tutorial. My dad was a very adventurous sort of person. He was not the type of person to sit inside the house on the weekends and watch TV or just stay inside the house really at all. We did happen to stay home. It might be because he wanted to work on some project, but even then he would be outside of the house, and wherever it was that he would be, it would be in relation to something he wanted to work on, and I would typically be right there by his side, involved in his projects. He would make me his handy assistant, and I enjoyed my time with him immensely. Most weekends, though, we went out on some great adventure or another, and it typically was spent outdoors. One of my favorite places to go was this amazing ranch, and it was in the middle of the Embellished National Forest. At the time the ranch was first purchased, which I believe was in the early 1900s by the original owner, I don't believe there was such a thing as national forests, or at least the Embellished National Forest did not exist, or it didn't exist in that area. By the time the Embellished National Forest did own the surrounding area, they really wanted their hands back on the one remaining ranch that was left, which was the one that we went to. The other ranches that had been established in the area around the time that this particular ranch had been, all of them had been absorbed and had been claimed by the Embellished National Forest, leaving this one, the only one remaining piece of private property that was surrounded by thousands of acres of nationally protected forest land. So this was my favorite place to go. It was filled with fun and adventure, and it was not just my dad and I that would go. There were a handful of people that would typically go there regularly on the weekends, as well as the owner, and it was really a lot of fun. There were all sorts of animals there. When I first started going there were buffalo, there were cattle, there were a lot of peacocks that had free reign of the ranch, as well as chickens. There were raccoons, deer. There were deer and turkeys and geese, and I'm trying to remember everything that was there really. Horses, oh yes, horses, and I did used to have a lot of fun riding them. My dad loved birds of prey, especially eagles. Eagles were probably his favorite, but he would still stop and marvel watching a hawk in flight or a falcon. He would stop and point out the sound of an owl if it was becoming darker outside and there would be an owl calling nearby. If a hawk was flying, for example, on a bright, beautiful afternoon, if we'd been driving on one of the dirt roads in the ranch, he would pull over sometimes and just point at it. Sometimes we'd even step out of the car, and we would just watch it for a few moments. It was relaxing. I was too young to really think too much about it then, but looking back, I really marvel at how much my dad really enjoyed nature. And he would pull over and just stop and savor it for a few moments like this. I had never heard the term meditation at that time. The internet did not exist, So the only people who knew of things like meditation were probably people that grew up in religions where meditation was more commonly a practice than the religion that I grew up in. No one in my family had any concepts of taking quiet time to just sit and calm your mind. But looking back, I can see that that's exactly the benefit that we were getting out of it, besides the visual enjoyment of just simply watching a gorgeous bird of prey glide in the currents of the air above. Sometimes we would stay home and maybe my dad would need to make a repair on the roof or fix something in the engine of a car. Those didn't occupy too many weekends really, but when they did, I would be right there by his side and he would make me his trusty assistant, and I would be asked to hand him the various tools that he would need. It made me feel really good about myself to be able to help my dad and to be included in everything that he did, whether it was his fun things or the repair things that he needed to do or some other project that he wanted to create. He would typically have me with him. He would share with me things that he was doing, or he would crack jokes, making us both laugh. And then there was the side of it where he would ask me from time to time to be helpful, and it made me feel really good about myself to be able to be capable of helping my dad. But these experiences are the things that I'm really left with that mean the most to me. And so this painting, the colorings, it reminds me of the earth, the air, the sky, the outdoors, those times where I was outside with my dad. So it reminds me of these beautiful outdoor experiences. I would sometimes go gold mining with my dad, gold panning by a creek side, so the water elements from the creek. So the coloring reminds me of so many nature things that I was involved with. And it reminds me of the birds that my dad loved, like the eagle or the hawk. It also, because of these two swirls that come together in the composition, it looks to me like it could also be relaying that there are two birds flying close together, flying together on some great adventure that they're sharing together, which is what it often felt like to be with my dad. It's what it felt like to be with my grandmothers at times, or other people that I have loved. Anyway, so this is what this means to me, and this is in honor of Father's Day, everyone's father, your father, my father, but it's also in honor of people that we love, just special loved ones.